My name is Alexis Bennett. I am a digital shopping storyteller. I am a commerce writer at Vogue magazine, and that means that I write shopping stories for the website. I am writing stories every day. So that starts with not only creating, the storyline, the text, but also finding the product. Part of my job is just to constantly know what's out there, what are people selling, what are the new items. So yeah, so I'm always on websites, always seeing what's out there in the market. You may see like written by Alexis Bennett, but there are so many moving parts and so many other people involved with making sure that story comes to life. So for instance, at Vogue, we have the photo researchers. We have someone whose job is just to check the credits and make sure that the price of the item is correct and did it go on sale. Like there's all of these different moving parts that really helps to bring the story to life. So yeah, while I feel like a writer job may seem like you work alone and you're the person writing the story, but it's very collaborative. When I was in high school, I always told everyone that I was going to be an anesthesiologist. Like I really thought that that was going to be the path for me. And then when I was in college, I failed chemistry 1045, not once, but twice. So I needed to change my path and figure out exactly what I wanted to do. I've always loved fashion, and even, when I was a little girl, like I would watch America's Next Top Model and just like study designers. Like on my free time, I was on what used to be style.com, which is now Vogue Runway. Like I would always just be looking at the collections, but I never really thought that I could actually have a job in fashion. And especially growing up in a household where your parents, want you to go to school to be a doctor, like it never really resonated in my head that I could have an amazing career in fashion. It wasn't until after college that I got my first fashion internship and that I really started to work towards having a job that I was passionate about and not just doing something because it sounded like the right thing to do. When I was in high school, one of my first jobs was working at Marshall's in retail. I don't know if that counts as the first job in fashion. But my first big girl job in fashion, full time, was working at Real Simple magazine in the fashion closet. And so pretty much my duties were to open packages all day, make sure everything was hung up and organized in the closet. And then once they were finished shooting everything for the issue, we would send everything back. So that was my very first fashion real job. Being a Floridian and not from New York and not really knowing about snow days, like I actually remember one time my first like big storm after moving to New York while I was working at Real Simple. The train stopped working, like the city was shut down. So I walked like as far as I could. Mind you, I'm wearing like what Floridians call boots, like in the snow, but like the icy water was seeping into my shoes. Like, so my toes were freezing. And I must have walked probably at least like a good 15 blocks until I was able to finally get a taxi to take me to the office. And then once I got there, obviously I was the only person there. Nobody was there because we were supposed to stay home that day. I learned what a snow day was after that. So the way that I've gotten information and advice, like YouTube, like, and also social media, there are so many amazing people who are sharing content and sharing their stories. So even if you don't have like a one-on-one talk with someone, like you can learn so much from so many people just by going to YouTube University. That's what I like to call it. Just to start putting in the work. I feel like I got a late start to the game. But then again, everybody's story is different. Everybody's process is different. Really, there's no such thing as you're too old to start over or you're too late to learn. But I do wish that I had instead of kind of going to college and trying to do what I thought was the right thing, I wish I had just early on made a commitment to the things that I was passionate about. And so that's one thing, like, I wish I knew then, was like, you don't have to do something because someone else tells you to do it. Like, what feels right to you? And like, I wish I would have questioned more. As a Black woman in fashion, I feel like the biggest obstacle for me to overcome really is myself. I've had an amazing team in every single job that I've had great managers that I felt like were really there for me and championed my growth. But I feel like, so for me, am a lot of times my biggest obstacle, because I always come into a room with like imposter syndrome, as if I don't belong. And so that's something I'm still working on to this day, is just knowing that I've worked hard. I know what I'm talking about. I know my stuff, and I deserve to be here. We have to just get out of our own way and just to make stuff happen. Like Alex L, this quote that I love from her is like, get out of your ego and into purpose. So I feel like a lot of times we're just overthinking, and we're so concerned with like, oh, what does this person think about me? And it's just like, no, just be you and know that you deserve to be here, that everything that you've done in the past has gotten you to where you are today. And so, yeah, that's an obstacle that I'm working to currently overcome now. I believe what has prepared me most for my career is just my relentless attitude. I feel like, especially in the fashion industry, it's so competitive. You can't let no's bother you. Applying for jobs, hundreds of jobs, and hearing no constantly, like, a lot of people, that may stop them, but you really have to have a relentless attitude and know that all you need is one yes. Like, that's all you need. Hello, my name is Alexis Bennett, and my fashion playbook pro tip is to make sure that you don't let the affirmations outweigh the hard work.